Hi everyone, this is Kevin, one of the Climb and Flow coaches, and today you'll be listening to the 10th podcast, and we are interviewing Jorg Verhoeven. That's obviously the Dutch way of saying it. Most English people will say Jorg Verhoeven. So Jorg has had an incredible career, and obviously still is having an incredible career. Jorg has been a prolific comp climber, uh, some amazing achievements in his climbing career, as well as a track climber, big waller, alpine climber, and climbing super high bouldering and sport grades. And today's conversation with was Jorg was extremely open and very honest, and that was really nice to see. The conversation just seemed to flow. Uh, wish I had more time with Jorg to talk about more stuff. There was quite a few questions I didn't manage to ask him, um, but it was really nice, deep conversation. And thank you, Jorg, for being so honest and open. Appreciate your thoughts and hope you guys enjoy the podcast. So, for all you Dutchies out there, I speak a little bit of Dutch with Jorg, which is quite nice. So, for all you non Dutch speakers, if you hear some gobbledygook, it's just me speaking Dutch. So, everyone would like to watch the visuals on YouTube. I'm sorry, we had some issues with the recording side of things, so we've only managed to record the voiceovers. So you're just going to have to look at a picture of Jorg and just make do with that. So, how are you, Jorg?
All good, thank you very much. Wait, are you Dutch?
Yes, ik ben Nederlands, ja.
Ja,
Mijn
but
ouders zijn Nederlands, België geboren en ik woon hier in Engeland al voor 30 jaar.
okay, okay. Hence the no accent in the English. Yeah.
Yeah, well, my friends here in the UK took the piss out of me for quite a long time for having an American accent.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, so I very quickly adapted a as best British accent as I could
Yeah,
have,
yeah,
really.
yeah. Yeah, I've been out to the country for I think 20 years as well, so
Okay. So do
yes.
you miss anything about Holland?
No, not really. I mean, my family's there.
Okay.
Some friends there, but
Okay.
I mean, my family comes and visit me every now and then.
Okay.
And yeah, for the rest, there's not much that I miss, honestly.
No Dutch food like chocolate sprinkles.
No, not really. I mean, no, really. Um, no, it's more, I really feel like a tourist when I'm there. Like,
Really? Okay.
to be honest, I really don't feel Dutch.
Oh, really?
I think I've been out of the country for so long. Like, I
Okay.
left when I was 18 already. So,
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, that's quite young, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been living in the UK for 30 years, and living in the UK, I still feel very Dutch.
Hmm. It's kind of close.
Um, Pardon?
It's kind of close, like
Yeah,
the
but
UK.
I think that the one thing that I always struggle with is as Dutch people, we're very direct,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Brits are definitely different. Yeah,
and the Brits are not, and they think I'm rude, and
yeah,
I struggle to understand what they mean with what they say.
yeah, yeah. I can see that. Yeah, it took me some time to adjust in Austria as well. And here, and like not right now, I'm in Spain, and everything's different. But at one point, I don't know. I'm just myself, and I accept people like kind of like cultures the way they are. You
Yeah,
have to
yeah, yeah.
adapt to them a little bit, and I think it's actually the reaction of people when they learn they know you're from abroad, and like the reaction to your personality is always kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess they learn to accept you for who you are and then kind of
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
well, that's that person.
yeah. I guess so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how come you're in Spain?
For climbing, basically.
Okay.
Like I lived in Austria for 20 years at least, I would say.
Okay.
Um, and also for climbing.
Yeah.
Like I kind of moved around Europe a little bit
Okay.
since I was quite young. And yeah, at one point I started having a project here in Spain. Like I had this dream of trying to climb 9B,
Yep.
and at one point I kind of lost it along the way.
Okay.
Um, like I was really getting into well, I would say adult life. Like my competition career had stopped, and like I had two part-time jobs. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I kind of lost the dream a little bit, and the
What?
person here, like she really inspired me to get back to it and to well to like follow my dreams and like really go for it. I think
So,
that was the difference. That was the difference for me. So that also meant that I had to spend a lot of time here.
yeah.
And actually, like I moved here. Well, I am renting an apartment here as well. So I'm spending like winter and spring here, and then summer mainly around the Alps.
Okay.
And
So,
I've gotten to love it here. It's super. Well, it's very relaxed. Like I'm not such a city person, and
okay.
here it's like countryside, very relaxed environment, like a close to nature, sun shining. So I really feel at home here.
It's good for the soul.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, when did you move to Spain?
I think it was 3 years ago. I mean, moving there, like like I said, I'm still between Austria and Spain at the moment.
Okay.
Um, since I still have a job in Austria and a lot of friends and people I care for.
Yeah.
So I go a bit back and forth, which is a little bit stressful, especially since I have a dog, so I'm always driving.
Okay.
But it works for me the way it is now. I don't think it's a long-term solution, but we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Okay. So your heart is in Spain, but your
Hmm.
responsibilities are in Austria.
A little bit like that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what's the dream?
Well, like I said, I stopped. At one point, I really stopped my career as a competition climber.
Yeah.
And I kind of like right away, there was a bit of a fluid transition, I would say, to rock climbing. Like I've always done rock climbing in my life, but the goals, there was never a big focus on any specific goals, I would say.
Okay.
So I think that changed a little bit after my focus on competition climbing was gone. Like I shifted that focus to well, projects on rock. I actually intended to go into stuff like expedition climbing, like mountaineering, big multi pitches, like I don't know, Greenland, Patagonia.
Yeah.
But I ended up not to. Like I really ventured back into sport climbing, and since I had this, like I started this idea of trying to climb 9B. I think
Yeah.
it already dates like I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. The idea. I just
Yeah.
wanted to see back then. It was kind of like the cutting edge. I think there was 9B plus already, but there was very little people that actually climbed 9B at that time.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to see like, okay, this since this seems to be, like amongst the hardest routes there is at the moment. I kind of want to see if I can do that.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting challenge for me. It also was a bit of an interest, like what does it take to climb something like that?
Yeah.
Like what is the like what do you how do you need to prepare for it? How did the routes actually look like?
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a like a documentary idea for myself as well. So I started checking out different routes, and I just fell in love with one route, which is in the place I live now. It's in Oliana.
Yeah.
It's like between Barcelona and Andorra, so it's a little bit in the mountainside.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I fell for this project right away. Started trying it over the years, got really close. And then COVID happened. Well, many things happened. Friends, close friends from me died. Um, COVID, work, and then relationship issues. So at that point, like I really kind of lost the idea, or I kind of forgot about the dream a little bit
Okay.
until after COVID, like traveling was back to possible, and yeah, I don't know. At that time, I came back here and thought, I might just activate it. And I saw, okay, I'm way too weak now. I've been doing too much work, too little training in the gym.
Yeah.
So I kind of lost belief a little bit in doing so. And then, like I said, sorry.
Belief in yourself, or
Yeah, I mean, believe I'm kind of a realistic person when it comes to goal setting.
yeah,
So I kind of saw, okay, this is not going to work if I continue like this. So it took a friend of mine who lives here as well, who's doing a similar approach to projecting. Like she has really really big dreams, and she kind of inspired me to really go for it again.
yeah,
And that was, I think, a big change in my mentality that I really had. I knew that I had that dream and I chose to live it again
yeah. Okay.
because that meant sacrificing quite a lot. Like, first of all, I had to get rid of one of the jobs, which means less work, so also less money. I chose to move here for at least half of the year, in order to train, prepare, and actually like try this route.
Yeah,
So yeah, I know I kind of lost my life in Innsbruck a little bit, but I built up a life here, and well, like I said, I love it here.
yeah.
It's starting to feel like home now.
Okay.
And
So
over the years, I've been doing this for 3 years now, and in the beginning it was a bit tough. Like I just didn't have the level anymore, and I feel like I made steady progress. And this year or this season, I feel like I'm back to the point where I kind of left before COVID,
yeah.
getting really close, or like having the route really close to my capabilities, and
Okay.
like I feel positive.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
I mean, you can tell me to mind my own business, but and please just say if it's not appropriate for me to ask. I think you're quite open on social media, um, and you just mentioned that you lost the love for, I guess, you lost the love for climbing. Uh, what happened?
Well, it's just I, like I've always had like tougher times in my life. I think that's normal for everybody. But at one point, like I was very deep down, on a personal level, and I think that was the first time where I really lost. Um, I don't know. There was no motivation. There was no drive anymore for climbing, and that was a really strange feeling since literally since I began climbing at like, I don't know, 11, 12 years of age.
Yeah,
Climbing has always been like this really stable pillar in my life
yeah,
that kind of supports. It kind of plays a supporting role as well. Like it's this thing you can always fall back onto. And I all of a sudden that was kind of gone. Like I was depressed for quite a long time, and it just shocked me that like my mind and body they were not open to climbing anymore.
okay,
So I really started. I don't know. I started missing it. It sounds weird that you don't want to you don't feel like doing something anymore, but you still miss it.
okay,
And at one point, like also with a lot of therapy and like getting back to myself, climbing came back again, and it's been back ever since. So like the motivation and the drive, I think have become even. It definitely changed
yeah.
over the years compared to like when I was younger, but I think there's even a bit more fire now. like a,
Okay.
bit more love than before.
Okay. So, like, what were the telltale signs, if there were any, like looking back?
I mean, depression is well, it's something horrible. I mean, some people have probably gone through it, but it's not just a mental thing. It's your body really just shutting down on yourself, and so it's kind of understandable that at that point you can't even go climbing anymore. Or there's
Yeah.
just your body says no, your mind says no, we're not feeling like this. So I think it was yeah, it was quite obvious that at one point, like I was just not functioning anymore. And
Okay.
I'm quite happy that it wasn't for an extended period,
Yeah.
and especially that I got out of there because it's like this deep hole you fall into, and it's very hard to get out since well, it's like it's a chemical thing as well. Like your body is just really, really not doing anything. So your mind it knows you need to get out of there, but you can't do anything. So like slowly I regained, I would say, mental health and well, also got my body back into being active and well, regaining the love for climbing
Yeah.
and like the motivation and the drive. And I think it really shocked me back then, and I really, really hope that it won't. Well, I will not face times like that in my life again
Yeah.
because it's good to have. It's really good to have climbing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think from my perspective, I think climbing. I mean, it's for me. I guess it's my job, but it's also a physical and an emotional outlet, and all my friends are kind of intertwined with it. So, like, I guess it's a complete life, really.
Yeah, yeah, I fully agree. Like I've always built my life around climbing. So at
Yeah.
one point when that didn't work anymore, then you start really feeling quite empty. And don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, like climbing is not my life is not only about climbing. I have a lot of different passions.
Yeah.
But still, I always feel that drive and motivation and joy I get from climbing is something that will well hopefully stay in my life for a long time
Yeah.
because it's hard to substitute really.
Yeah. It's I know. I think it's like we all need we all need like a physical outlet for I guess being physical and being active makes us feel good. But climbing's just I think it's an incredible sport, right? It just provides us with all these amazing like focus and chemicals. Um, like, are you still there, Jorg?
Yeah, yeah, I am.
Yeah, sorry, I think my screen's just
No
died.
worries.
Um, so yeah, it's just one of those sports that provides these amazing chemicals when we're climbing something and we end up in a flow state, or we end up giving it everything we've got. Um, like after an attempt like that, even whether we get to the top or not, like our like we're flushed with like our bodies are flushed with so many like amazing chemicals.
Mm.
It becomes like for me, it's almost like an addiction.
Yeah, I definitely think it is, yeah. And it's also good to realize that because it can get a bit dangerous, like every addiction. If you're really too dependent on it, then
Yeah,
well, you could run into troubles. Which certainly I've done in the past. But I think the positive feedback I get from climbing always outweighs like the negative stuff from it.
yeah,
So for me, it just feels like I'm doing something right.
yeah,
So and
yeah,
it was very rare that there were periods in my life where climbing did not feel as like the right thing to do.
yeah,
So it sometimes can be frustrating if you don't reach your goals. It can be frustrating when I don't know. on a personal level, it doesn't work. But in the end, I think the like the positive vibes I get from this sport, they always outweighed uh, the negative stuff.
Yeah. But the cool thing about climbing is there's always another goal, right? I think we all set ourselves these goals of climbing a particular grade. And then when we finally get there, there's another grade beyond that.
Well, I mean, I guess that's the way I've been practicing, like trying to push my limits. I see a lot of people that share that passion, but at the same time, I think it's good to realize as well that climbing is way beyond just I don't know, chasing a grade,
Of course, of course.
or even trying to push your own limits. Like I personally like I really enjoy just easy climbing.
Okay.
I was always the one trying to find, like, for example, the longest easy multi pitches, whereas other friends they wanted something like harder and shorter.
Okay.
Um, Simply because I don't know, I think the experience just it is just like longer lasting for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm, but it also comes with um, traveling together with me. Like I've throughout my climbing life, obviously for competitions, I traveled around the world
Yeah.
excessively, I would say, which is something I regret a little bit.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, like the life I had as a professional climber, I would say is like quite the opposite of a sustainable life. And at one point, I started realizing that, but then like I had already done like 10, 15 years of competition climbing, which means flying around the world
Yeah. Okay.
for I don't know, flying to China for 4 days or something.
Yeah.
And you can say, yeah, it's a job, and like you're a competition climber, so you're supposed to go to a World Cup. But at the same time, I think if I would redo it, I would do it a little bit differently.
Okay. How would you
But
do it differently?
well, like at one point, I started like downscaling travel in a way that like there's some travels that just feel completely useless. I stopped doing very short trips somewhere, like longer travels for a short stay. So each time, either, for example, a sponsor asked me to go somewhere, or if there was a competition, I don't know, in Japan or something, I made sure that like I take everything out of that travel. If I choose to go somewhere, then I don't want to stay for just a weekend.
Yeah.
So rather, instead of going 2 or 3 weekends, I would try to stay there for a month or something.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
as a professional climber, you have that opportunity to like spend time somewhere else. Um, Now, even with my job, I can do a lot of remote work, so I actually like that enables me to stay here in Spain
Yeah.
for up to, well, I don't know, between 2 and 6 months.
Okay.
So that was a choice as well. Instead of like training and living in Austria and then always flying to Spain to try my project.
Yeah.
At one point, I was like, well, why don't you just move there and spend time there?
Yeah.
Because here, like I've got a car, I'm driving to the crag for 15 minutes, and that's about it.
Okay. That
So
sounds nice.
instead of flying around the world,
Yeah.
like I have one of the best crags in the world, like basically in my backyard.
Yeah. And I guess it
Um,
means something to you, right?
yeah, exactly. And like it doesn't mean I lead a sustainable life, since, like I said before, I like the passion to travel is in me is so strong
Yeah.
that I'm still as egoistic to say that I will still travel to places. Like last year, we went to Greece, for example, and stuff like that. Unfortunately I still choose to do that because it just brings me so much joy to go to a new place and discover new crags,
Yeah.
new cultures, just new countries.
Yeah.
That I still choose to live like that. And I would like to go back to Yosemite. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in Asia I want to
Okay.
see.
So what would you want to do in Yosemite?
Plenty of stuff.
Okay.
I mean, Yosemite is just the ultimate playground for
Oh
me.
man, it's so cool. It's such a cool
Mm.
place.
And
Yeah.
I've been there maybe 4 or 5 times now.
Yeah. Okay.
I've always stayed, no, I think 4 times. I always stay roughly a month,
Okay.
sometimes a little bit longer. And yeah, there's endless opportunities there. I just love that valley.
Yeah.
El Cap is like it's not only the ultimate playground, but it's really like the ultimate challenge.
It's a cool piece
Um,
of rock, isn't it?
it's incredible, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And people say it's a bit of a pain in the bum to like to deal with rangers and tourism and other people on the wall. But I don't know. I kind of gotten to accept that, and actually enjoyed meeting people on the wall,
Yeah.
waiting a little bit for others to like if you're stuck in traffic on the wall. Like
Yeah.
it's not remote Pakistan where you won't find a living soul.
Yeah.
It's like well, it's in the middle of the US and it's it's a national park where millions of people visit, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I kind of see the good sides to that as
But
well.
it's quite a surreal place, isn't it? Because you get there and like it's one piece of rock and you go and climb it and yet it's like you've got on the one side you've got like it's climber central and on the other side it's so touristy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, just the fact, like if you think about 1,000 meter granite, like vertical drop,
Yeah.
then like there's bigger walls. Like Pakistan has like Triangle Towers. It's probably double that.
Yeah.
Um, there's definitely places around the world where there might even be more impressive walls, but the difference is like 3 hours from San Francisco. The moment you drive into that valley, there's one turn if you come from down in the valley where you, just the trees lift, and all of a sudden that wall, like El Cap, is right in front of you, and it's
Yeah.
so close.
Yeah.
It just towers above you,
Yeah.
and like driving towards it, like it's literally a 5 minute walk from the road, which is ridiculous. Imagine, like you
Yeah.
can drive your car almost underneath the wall.
Yeah.
So it just gives you this really, like you say, surreal feeling.
Of
It can,
insignificance.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, you feel so small.
And also makes the logistics a lot easier to climb on it. Like you don't need a week to get there.
Yeah.
You don't need a base camp.
Yeah.
There's Camp 4,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
which is a crappy campground.
It is.
I heard they have
Yeah.
hot water now, and showers, which is a change. But
Yeah.
before before it was just well a nice spot in the forest.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the last time I went there, we just stayed just outside the park just because I think Camp 4 is kind of renowned for being a bit of a
Yeah.
dive.
I mean, that's what a lot of people do these days. Like they rent a mobile home and a camper and just park outside of the valley.
Yeah.
I guess that works as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, but I'm hungry to get back. But once again, I'm focused and fixed on this project here,
Okay.
and I think that's one thing that I learned over the years, and that was also necessary to learn. When I was young, there was too many things that were pulling at me at the same time. Like my motivation and drive has always been all over the place. Like I was basically focusing on competitions, but at the same time, the mountains were pulling on me so hard,
Yeah.
and rock climbing as well, and traveling. So I kind of did a little bit of everything at the same time. Like literally, we were in the plane home from a World Cup, and the next World Cup would be the weekend after, and we were planning to like first ascend some like multi pitches in the Zillertal. So it just like looking back on it, it just felt it almost feels like I sometimes wonder if I would have focused much more concentrated, like 100% on my training and preparation for World Cups, like what would have happened. But
Yeah.
that's a little bit in vain as well. Like I was that way, and now I also had that like I had the potential to do a little bit of everything. Like I was
Yeah.
fit enough. Now I really feel if I spend too much time in the mountains, my sport climbing shape will go down and I won't reach my goal.
Yeah.
So hence I choose to like chill down and like keep my focus and concentration, and then maybe shift that focus to something else, to another goal as soon as
Okay.
I
So focus
stop.
on one goal and not many.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
And at one point, I might like I will either succeed in my goal or I will fail and decide to bail.
Yeah.
Um, like it's a bit of a choice. Um, and it's always a tough one. And I constantly ask myself, okay, this is this the life I want to lead?
Yeah.
This is what I like.
Do you enjoy it?
If yeah, yeah. I mean, if you look at it in a realistic way, like many people could ask me, like, why, especially nowadays, like climbing 9 beats is basically nothing anymore. There's an Italian guy here, Stefano Ghisolfi, and he literally in like 1.5 months he climbed 3 9Bs, and he's now working on the same project as I am, and I'm pretty certain that if like he well give him another couple of weeks or a month or so, he will climb it. So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is like it's not a like it's not a performance that is like incredible. It's definitely not going to change the world.
Well, it's a
Um,
personal goal for you.
exactly, it's a personal goal, and I think it what matters is the joy that it brings to me,
Of course it does. Yeah. I
with
mean,
the
who cares?
fulfillment.
Who cares about climbing, right? Who cares about what anyone climbs?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. I think the answer is me.
Yeah.
I think as long as I care and I'm happy that with what I do, and like I said before, when it still feels right, like the right thing to do,
Yeah.
then I'll continue what I do. And if at one point that changes, and I do ask myself that question quite often, if that changes, then well, then I'll lead a different life.
Yeah. So do you ever feel, I guess, you're a sponsored athlete, right?
Yes, but I'm slowly
Okay.
shifting down to well, um, to just keep working with the same brands, but
Okay.
on a lower intensity.
Okay.
Like
So,
I kind of had this the discussion with most of the brands I work with, that at one point, like from their side, they're saying, okay, you're not as interesting anymore. Most of the brands, they were shifting to the Olympics, so like from their side, I'm becoming less and less
that sounds
interesting.
ruthless.
Well, yeah, well, that's the way it is, huh?
The,
But also, I communicated from my side that like I don't want to, like if you really look at it like that, I'm taking away a spot for a younger climber that
yeah.
has the same dreams as I used to have. And there is growth in the climbing industry.
Yeah.
So that means, okay, they can take up more climbers, sponsored athletes,
Yeah.
but it's not that big. And the climbing world has grown so fast that I really see youth struggle, like talented and promising and interesting youth struggle to see or struggle to work with brands.
Yeah.
So I kind of communicated as well, like, listen, I understand, and it's also my wish, like we can work on a different level, um, so that I'm not like that a sponsored athlete like I was before,
Yeah.
but just the brands I worked with, um, they like especially La Sportiva and Petzl, they're two brands that I've always supported. And on the other, like I really support their products. I really support the direction of the brand.
Yeah.
Worked with them for I don't know, more than 20 years, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
So I kind of feel a connection as well into continuing to work with them,
Yeah.
not
Okay.
just say, or not just accept as well, like, hey, you're not doing the Olympics, you're not interesting anymore to us, we're just going to drop you.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think they understood the message and they valued that as well.
Okay. Well, that's very, I guess, nice of them to not just drop you, right? Did you
Yeah,
ever?
yeah. But
Did
at the same time, it's a tough business because these are big brands, and in the end, they're trying to make money. So
yeah,
it's a calculation. Like, is this person still bringing uh,
value?
value to the brand?
Yeah. So did
And
did
if
you
the
ever?
answer is no, at one point they're gonna say, no, 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 we're gonna stop.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at your, I guess your social media, I would say from, I guess, just a personal point of view, that I mean, you're still putting stuff out there. You're still doing loads of stuff. I mean,
No, I think it just changes. I mean, what like on terms of sponsoring, people always or climbers used to think, okay, if I climb hard, then I'm entitled to sponsorship.
yeah,
Like I'm entitled to receive money from a brand. And I think over the years, there might have been that case in the 90s or the 80s, I don't know. But over the years, that definitely changed. And I've always tried to explain people like, hey, sponsoring doesn't work like that.
yeah,
You're like it's an interest in the interest needs to go in both sides.
yeah,
So if you want a brand to give you to pay you to live your life as a professional climber, then you need to be interesting to a brand, and that doesn't just mean climbing 9As, 9Bs, 9Cs.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It also means like actually helping the brand.
yeah,
Because basically, what a lot of people don't understand, but as a sponsored athlete, you're doing marketing.
yeah. Well, you are a
Um,
marketing person, right? You wear their clothes or their branded stuff.
well, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
So I always struggled with that a little bit since basically all I did as a well, all my working life, I was working into marketing, which
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
not my favorite, I would say. Like it's definitely not going to help a lot of people. It's not going to change the world.
yeah.
Like I come from a scientific background in university, and yeah, I
What did you
mean,
study?
it is. I worked in on material sciences and before that in geology and earth sciences.
Okay.
But like marketing, I mean, it's never been my favorite. So also marketing myself, like you kind of have to see yourself as a professional climber. You have to see yourself as a brand.
Yeah,
Like you're a brand that you need to push onto the market.
yeah,
And I always hated that because you need to talk about like you need to push yourself forward.
yeah,
And I struggled with that. And at one point, I realized, okay, there's actually a way to make it interesting to you as well, and that is to inspire people. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I saw that the things I was doing were actually inspiring people to go out there and do similar stuff themselves,
yeah,
or to just somebody that has a 9 to 5 job in an office, just to have a quick social media flick where look, there's a guy hanging on a piece of rock somewhere in Australia. Gives them good feeling.
yeah,
That is a little bit of inspiration, and
yeah,
that I think that enabled me to like to accept being a tool of marketing.
yeah. But I guess like climbing such a personal thing, isn't it?
I mean, for me, there was always climbing what I did, what I like my dreams, my passion basically,
Yeah,
and making money with it
yeah,
because in the end, like I needed to make a living.
yeah,
I did for a certain period. I was getting support from the Dutch Olympic Committee, but that's kind of like the lower end of the wage that you need to make.
I mean, the
So
Dutch are quite tight, aren't they?
well, I don't know to be honest. When I compare it with other countries, some of the Alpine countries still have the army supporting the athletes.
Yeah,
Um, I think there's kind of two ways. Either you're very successful and you make a lot of money,
yeah,
especially now with the Olympics, like the top athletes, they're getting paid very well.
Yeah,
Mm.
I
And
guess.
then there's the tier below, and also like 20 years ago, the top athletes. Like you could make a living from it. It's not like you were getting rich.
Yeah, but I guess maybe what could have helped with you was for you to just do your climbing and somebody else to do the marketing for you of you.
Yeah, maybe that, but that kind of went against one of the biggest points for me, with which was authenticity. Like I kind of really wanted to stay the person, or to showcase the person that I am, and
Yeah.
not just have like a marketing person push me into a
Okay.
direction where that would work to, I don't know, basically create money,
Yeah.
or make money,
I
but it
mean,
wouldn't be me.
yeah,
So
okay.
I really, that's also one of the reasons why I was always like almost overly honest on social media, because in the end, like I shared many stories about like my mental disorder, or my mental health issues.
Yeah.
And like in the end, that's, you can ask yourself the question, like, is social media really the right channel for that? Like, is it necessary to, I think there's a lot of athletes, and especially high profile people on socials, that would never share something like that, because it kind of destroys a little bit of your image. But at the same
But
time, I was like, well, if I'm doing this, then I really want people to see who I am, and if they don't like that person, then I think that's justified.
yeah,
Mm.
I
And
mean, just reading through your social media, like I guess what I read from it is somebody who's uh very driven, somebody who's a very deep thinker, very sensitive and very open. And I think it's rare to see that as I guess as a uh, professional at your level to be that open. And personally, I think it's really nice, and I'm sure that there are lots of people out there that read some of the things that you write, and it helps others.
I definitely do so. That's exactly why I chose to share
Yeah,
also the negative stuff in my life, because I know it helps certain people. If it only helped one, then I'm already happy.
yeah,
Um, but at the same time, I think it was also like a way for me to accept social media, because I was always a bit disgusted about the, like, social media behaves in a way that everybody portrays itself from their best perspective.
yeah,
And I think that's a really dangerous, I think by now everybody knows that that's a dangerous thing in society,
yeah,
because if you only see people having the best time of their lives, being the most beautiful, being the strongest, then, well, you're gonna get into trouble yourself, because it's life isn't like that.
yeah,
Life has ups and downs.
yeah,
So at one point I really chose to showcase the downs as well, and yeah, I think I will do so. I will do so in the future.
yeah. And I appreciate your honesty. And I think it's a positive thing, and I think more of us should use it um, to have it as an open kind of forum. Uh, it's just I think social media has its negative and dark side as well, where it becomes also a very judgmental platform where
Yeah,
people
yeah. Mm.
feel the need to judge someone on their situation based on not knowing anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's very little info, and people jump to conclusions very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, of course they do. They don't
But
know.
it can also be a platform where like positive constructive discussion can take place,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because it does reach a lot of people.
yeah,
But I kind of set myself a certain set of rules, how to deal with socials and marketing in general.
Yeah.
And I really want to adhere, like to stick to these rules or these guidelines for myself.
Yeah.
And one of them, for example, was to showcase both the ups and downs.
Yeah.
Another one, like, was to not be hypocritical. And I've had this
Not be too
discussion with
critical.
no hypocritical
Ah, right. Hypocritical.
like I had this discussion with other pro climbers that I think most of us we feel, I think most climbers in general, like you're so much in touch with nature that at one point you kind of develop a feeling of urgency and sustainability.
Yeah.
Like I think this is not even just for climbers. I think everybody around the globe is feeling that right now.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to do something good, and I think the climbing industry, like a lot of the big brands, they they grab this feeling and work with it. I think sometimes the attention is good, and big brands actually want to change for the better. Sometimes it's just like greenwashing, just throwing stuff out there that people want to hear. And I always thought that was quite an interesting topic, since I see many other professional climbers wanting to talk about this and wanting to improve on themselves. And for me, the problem was we lead a life that is so incredibly not sustainable. We're kind of like the opposite example of how somebody should be to lead a sustainable life. So, are we actually entitled to talk about that? Like,
Yeah.
we're definitely not entitled to judge
Yeah.
others. Like I always gave the example, okay, compare yourself, like you're doing, I don't know, 15 intercontinental flights per year, and compare yourself to somebody that's in your audience, like somebody that's putting a like on your Instagram account,
Yeah.
that has a 9 to 5 job, um, commutes by train or whatever, and just does his yearly trip to the south of France to lie on the beach for a week. Like,
Yeah.
who's the more sustainable? Like,
Yeah.
who are we to judge other people and to say like, you're not supposed to do this and that, because we are actually the bad examples. So at one
Yeah.
point I started asking myself, like, are we entitled to talk about stuff like this? And I'm
Yeah, but
still,
how far do you go? Like, I mean, like how far do you go with the I guess the sustainability kind of discussion? Like
well,
everything we have around us, like what is sustainable?
Well, it's not what is sustainable, but it's definitely clear what is not sustainable.
Yeah,
And I think that's the answer is very clear. Traveling is not sustainable,
yeah,
especially
yeah,
traveling for long distances.
yeah,
Like already me driving between Austria and Spain, like it's 1,300 kilometers. So like as soon as you have the urge to move yourself to a different place, that like you're gonna run into troubles there. If I want to go to Yosemite, like it doesn't matter if I take the boat, if I take the plane, if I take the whatever type of
yeah,
um like the travel is the problem. Like, don't get me wrong, of course there's good options and there's better options. Like if it's most of the times it's better to take a car instead of a plane.
yeah,
It's definitely better to take the boat to the US than to take a plane. But at the same time, if you really start counting your carbon footprint and also taking a boat, oof, it's not incredible, and it's
yeah,
actually not that much less worse than just taking flight.
yeah, yeah. Or you could row across the Atlantic.
Yeah, yeah, but you also have to realize that that's not really like it's also pro climbers. They're often seen as role models, whether you like it
Of
or not.
course.
Like you're
Yeah,
being put in this box, and or you put yourself in this box actually. Like you're
yeah,
reaching out to a lot of people. That does mean that certain people see us as an example.
yeah. So
So, so if I say, okay, I'm only going to take the bike to drive to the crag now, which is a perfectly fine option. I mean, I would probably get myself killed on the road here in Spain because Andorrans drive like crazy. But at the same time, like it's a perfectly fine option for me to drive to the crag by bike. But if I tell my audience, or if I really want to send out the message, okay, people, everybody should go to the crag by bike.
Yeah.
Like it's not a solution for many people.
Yeah.
Like somebody that is in the Netherlands, living in the Netherlands, and actually wants to go to rock climbing, like are they and has a normal job,
Yeah.
like how are they supposed to do?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Like I
Cycling is
met
really
people in the
helpful, isn't
in
it?
the Red River Gorge that came from like the south of Canada.
Yeah.
They were there for I don't know a couple of days, and they drove probably 20 hours,
Yeah.
like, just because they said that's kind of like amongst the closest that they have.
Yeah. So do you ever feel there's a lot of pressure on you as an athlete in the limelight?
No, no. If so, then it's the pressure I put on myself,
Okay.
which is sometimes quite high. But I think if you start to like internalize external pressure, then well, it's kind of like this never-ending loop.
Yeah.
It's quite it's a bit difficult to get out of it because especially on social media, like critique is everywhere. And
Yeah.
there's
Well, yeah,
always
you're
somebody that
finding
doesn't
that
like something you do.
is everywhere. Yeah. So do you feel that the that the pressure to perform and the pressure to have high standards on yourself, do you feel that that's helped you with with the competition climbing? Because like I was going through your history uh with your rankings over the years since when you started as a youth climber and like like just going through the rankings, it's such a prolific like climber to end up in such high rankings continuously for such a long period of time. Plus, if I get it right, you're a four-time World Cup winner.
Yeah, single competitions. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, do you feel that the pressure you put on yourself for high standards, do you feel that that's helped you with like a lot of the things you've achieved?
well, I mean, I think most of the stuff I actually reached, or like the performances I've had in my life, yes, of course they probably come from like me putting pressure, or actually like the drive of wanting to do stuff. Um, but I think what is the uh, like the bigger role in all that was just the motivation, just a
Okay.
clear, like really pure motivation. I want to do this, so let's make it happen, and especially the joy coming out of that.
Yeah.
Like I've always been like a really strong, like I've always been strongly in favor of the classic cliche of saying like 5 minutes of fame is not what you're doing it for. Like you said, I've won 4 World Cups in my life, and I cannot recall any of the moments of actually winning. I mean, it is a bit like it is kind of long ago. I have to
Yeah.
admit, it's probably 10 years ago, 15
Okay.
years ago. But at the same time, I can vividly recall certain experiences like longer ago in climbing, or that were either performances that were like interesting, or sometimes just not even a performance. I
Okay.
can really recall these moments very clearly. So it's not like reaching a goal is one thing, but like enjoying everything that comes, well, like you always hear, enjoying the process.
Yeah.
That is really what counts, and that always works very well for me. Like
Okay.
I enjoy the preparation, the training. I enjoy like preparing for a certain goal.
Yeah.
That's why as well, like my goal setting sometimes is quite far away. Like I dream big basically,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um, because I love it so much to like push myself towards something that is like seemingly unattainable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that can cause problems as well, since when it's really unattainable, then it becomes hard to accept.
Yeah, and that
But
becomes frustrating.
yeah, it can become frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the process of trying hard and pushing myself and working with myself to achieve something, that is just something that I enjoyed all the
And
time.
yeah, and I guess once you achieve that goal, I guess
I just hop on to the
sometimes,
next.
but yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's quickly forgotten and moved on to the next one.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it, how that happens?
No, it's not. I think people just they put too much value on actually the actual performance,
Yeah,
and they forget that like the performance is well, it's not much in the end.
yeah,
It comes with like a nice feeling of satisfaction, and of course for a certain period, like you have that nice serotonin effect where
yeah,
like you feel your gut feeling is like okay, I've reached something, it's good.
yeah,
Um, that like the tension that builds up to like pushing yourself hard, like it's not always nice. And don't
yeah,
get me wrong, when I say like I've always enjoyed it, like there were like a million times a million moments in trying to reach a goal where I absolutely hated it.
yeah,
Like the training can be super tough, the frustration of failure, like dealing with failure can be very hard.
yeah.
So yes, there was a lot of times where like I was not having fun, but like I said, it's a balance for me, and if the good weighs up to the bad, then I'm a happy guy.
Okay. So how do you deal what you to perceive to be failure?
Well, first of all, accept that there's going to be more failure than success,
Yeah,
especially if like it kind of starts with goal setting, no?
yeah,
Mm, the higher you set your goals, like the more you're prone to fail.
yeah,
The chances are just higher to fail. So I think that's important to realize that like if you dream big, then well, chances are very high that you're gonna have to deal with failure.
yeah.
Um,
And if you're
and
not,
then
your goals aren't set it high enough.
well, yeah, if you have easier goals, then it just means you might reach them, but the satisfaction of actually reaching them is not going to be as high.
Yeah,
Like the more you work for something, the harder you work for something, the nicer it'll be to actually achieve it.
yeah, yeah,
So if you realize that, then it's a lot easier to actually deal with failure.
yeah. I guess it's not something that we are taught in society, is it? We're not taught how to, I guess, deal with failure because everything in society is focused around success and achievement.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I think like since I've climbed competitions for 20 years or something, like one of the first thing you need to do, and literally every competition climber needs to do this. One of the most important things that you need to learn is to deal with failure.
Yeah,
And I think at one point I saw really like Janja Garnbret was one of the best or the most interesting examples I've seen because since she kind of popped up in the climbing scene, she
yeah,
has won everything, like literally everything. As a youth climber, she was already one of the best. Then, still as a youth climber, she became one of the best in the senior comps. Like she won World Cups right away. She won the overall World Championships, the Olympics twice. But at one time, there were moments where she had her first failures, and I think it was very very interesting, well at least for me, to see how she dealt with it
yeah.
because even if you're the strongest in the world, you need to handle um, failure first in order to like keep success going.
So
Because
how
everybody's going to lose at one point.
Of course, yeah, yeah, but that's
And
realistic, isn't it?
I've lost 99 times out of 100, so probably
Yeah,
even more.
yeah,
So it's nice to win, but it's very rare that you actually win.
yeah. So how did Janja deal with that loss?
Hmm. I don't know. I think you would need to
Ask
have her on
her.
a podcast directly.
Okay.
No, I think
I'll
with a lot of mental strength.
yeah. Mental
Mm,
resilience.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and with belief that like if I accept this failure and like if I work past it, then there might be success in the future.
yeah,
And I think that's something quite important that you have confidence that at one point, like this the negative feeling that you're experiencing right now from failure is going to turn into something positive from either the process itself or the actual like success.
yeah. Okay. So do you feel that maybe a character trait that might help with some people is to be stubborn?
I mean, if you're not stubborn, then you, it's very hard to actually get somewhere.
Yeah.
Like almost all the really good climbers I know, they're really really stubborn. So I think myself included, like
Yeah.
it can cause a lot of problems, but it helps you to get somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I'm definitely very stubborn and it's something that helps me in climbing, but it doesn't help me in my relationship.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, on a personal level, it's a
Yeah.
totally different story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
I think sorry, as
no,
a professional climber, you like your personal life, like you're basically teaching yourself to be egoistic, to tell yourself like you need to be the good, you need to be the best.
yeah.
But in a personal life, this is of course catastrophic, and at one point you need to learn to like shut down, like always dealing with yourself and actually deal with others.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think life is a learning curve, isn't it? We're not like we go through life just learning about ourselves continuously, and situations happen,
Mm.
and hopefully we can reflect on that and try and figure out why patterns have happened and maybe try and change it.
Yeah, yeah, change is slow.
Yeah, but it's hard, isn't it? Especially when you're stubborn.
Mm.
Yeah, like me. Yeah, so going off on you mentioned earlier like a lot of the competitions that you did, you don't have much recollection. Is there a climb that you did or something within climbing you did that was for you the most emotionally rewarding, and what was that?
Not really, to be honest.
No?
If I would take a long time, I'd probably find something. But I can more find like the counter example.
Okay.
Um, like at one point, I think second trip or something to Yosemite, there was a government shutdown. So that meant that the park, all the national parks, they closed since there's no more funding.
Yeah.
So they kicked everybody out of Yosemite Valley,
Yeah.
and you were not allowed to climb anymore. Well, I still had a week. I was by myself since my partner had already left. I was counting on just finding climbers in the valley.
Yeah.
So I just decided, well, I still have a week. I want to do some climbing. So I just walked back in. I deposited my stuff underneath our cap and walked back into the valley. And at night started climbing. I had enough food, I think, for 4 days. And over those 4 days, I climbed El Cap like by myself, by the easiest route, free rider. Um,
With
and
ropes or without?
yeah, yeah, no, of course with ropes. No, I'm not Alex Honnold. No, fuck that. Um, so it was a very nice experience, and it was a big struggle as well, since like dealing with the ropes and belaying yourself with a gree. It's
Yeah.
just I don't know. It's not my thing.
It's hard
If it
work.
needs to be, then I can make it work. But it's a bit of a pain in the ass, and I kind of made it work. And at one point, I do remember myself standing on top of El Cap, like having climbed the last pitch and having successfully climbed freerider,
Yeah.
and realizing to myself, okay, what now? Like, why did we do this again? Like, normally there's another person where you can celebrate. You can, I don't know,
High five each other.
exactly, like have a good time
Yeah.
and walk down to the valley and like celebrate a little bit. And there I
Yeah.
was really surprised about how there was no celebration at all. It was just,
Yeah.
well, let's just get my stuff and walk down.
Yeah.
So it was really a big anticlimax.
Yeah. So solo climbing's not really something for you then, York.
Well, I don't know. I've done plenty of solo climbing, like most of all with ropes, but I'm really good by myself.
Yeah.
But it's more like it. I think it showcases very well that the performance doesn't always count that much, because I really enjoyed climbing El Capo over those 4 days.
Yeah.
Like spending the nights just by myself without a porter ledge on like there's a small ledge in the middle of the wall,
Yeah.
like all the epic moments you have when like the rope techniques, it just doesn't work because you were not prepared for it, and like the struggles to actually climb by yourself. Like I
Yeah.
really enjoyed all those moments, and I can remember many of them, especially
Yeah.
the bivvies, like super vividly, even though it's 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But the moment actually of actual success was completely anticlimactic,
Yeah. 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 Okay.
and it was a bit the same with World Cups or even climbing your first 9A. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun. And I do remember climbing my first 9A plus last year. It was a project that I was working on for a long time. It was like one of the best routes on the planet, and I was very grateful, like to have friends around, people being happy for me being happy as well.
Yeah.
So yes, like I do realize, or I I am happy with performance. It's just that there's much more than just the performance.
Of course, I guess in that moment is sharing, I guess, something that means something to you with people that you, I guess, people that you love. And
Yeah, and also just living the life um, that I lead
yeah,
because of the goals I set.
yeah, yeah. I think friendship's really important. I think in lockdown, I definitely I guess, realized that I do like climbing, but I think I missed friends so much. And I think for me, climbing is all about, I do love climbing, but climbing means so much more with friends.
Yeah, no, it's definitely social life. Social life plays a huge role in climbing, and
Yeah,
I see that kind of every day when I go to the crag here. It's a funny example since it's a classic crag that I don't know was bolted maybe like 25 years ago, and at one point it burned down. Like it was a very famous, internationally famous crag. There was a lot of people. It's a very high end crag, so there's not too many easier routes, but still there's people coming from all over came from all over the world to visit. And at
yeah,
one point it burned down completely. There's
yeah,
a huge fire 2 years ago, and we didn't know at that time whether it would still be climbable afterwards. So like a lot of people came together and everybody worked to make it into a nice place again, make everything climbable,
yeah,
rebuild stuff, etc. And now this is the first year where the international people have come back, and the crag is actually like it's super alive again.
yeah,
And some people might find it annoying since, when there's 50 people at the crag,
yeah,
then sometimes for some routes for the classics, you have to stand in line. And there's plenty of dogs and plenty of, well, just people. Sometimes it can be loud. So I do realize that for some that can be perceived as annoying, but for me, I'm just happy that like it's a buzzing place,
yeah,
and like that social aspect I really come to value over the years.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I get, yeah. Yeah, I think it's really important. Um, Quick question that I had, somebody mentioned to me the other day is that when you climbed the nose,
Mhm.
did you have different people belaying you on different sections?
No, 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 no.
No.
I think I had a month of I had a month in Yosemite, and the first week there was a friend from Austria that I worked. We just climbed it a couple of times and just worked as much as we could.
Okay.
And then I worked on it for an extended period myself, since well, I was in the valley all alone, and it didn't really make sense to ask people like, "Hey, would you be willing to support me?" Because I was just working the route, so it would be pretty boring for them. And
I guess it's
then
quite
I
cool, right?
was
Watching somebody work something that for them is maybe quite hard.
maybe, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have perceived it as that cool since it's
I'd have
just
given you
hanging.
a belay, Jorg.
Yeah, maybe, but it's just hanging on the rope, and just trying to find footholds and teeny tiny scratches on the rock, and trying to find solutions for, I don't know, 5 meters of difficulty. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen it as that interesting. But anyways, like I worked on it by myself, and then as soon as I knew, okay, I've got it dialed. Like as soon as I had the confidence I could do a push from the start, then I started looking for people that were willing to tag along.
Yeah.
And there was actually an Italian American guy that was he right away said like he hasn't been on the wall as much as he wanted to, so he just wants to spend time on El Cap.
Yeah.
So he would love to just come up with me, and he climbed some parts, but he Jumared most and just hung out on the ledges. And we had a marvelous time on the wall during like 3 days that we were up there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I kind of felt that he had the better time than I did.
Well, you're
like
having
it,
to do all the hard work.
well, I mean, for me it was a bit stressful, of course, because I really wanted to do this, and
Yeah.
like I put all this pressure on myself, and he was just literally just sitting there soaking up everything around him, just
Yeah.
enjoying life.
He's having a
Um,
holiday.
as much as he could, yeah. And it was nice and sunny. There was a good breeze. It wasn't too cold. It wasn't too hot. So I think you really had a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I've got a couple more questions because I know that you've got to go soon. Um, what do you feel your mental strengths are in climbing?
No, that's a good one.
What's your superpower?
Well, I would say I'm psyched.
Yeah.
Like my motivation, like genuine internal motivation, is just very high.
Yeah.
I think that it colors on other people as well.
Yeah.
Like I've heard that before, that like people are inspired by the motivation I have.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you, what, I guess it's all the different styles of climbing that you do that keep you motivated.
For a long time, that was the case. Yeah, if I would get a little bit down and bored on something, then I would I don't know, do some mountaineering or ice climbing, and I'd be like I would come back to the gym and be happy to train again. But
You got,
now I still feel that like I'm happy actually to stick to something.
yeah.
I think I'm more patient. That's all.
Okay. I guess that comes with age, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You've done some ice climbing.
Yeah, I think it's don't get me wrong, but it's the least favorite branch of the sport.
Why is that?
I don't know, it just never really got me. I went on some solo things myself, some easy stuff, and I did some stuff with friends. And first of all, when you're not really good at it, you're just banging your fist into the ice.
Yeah.
When conditions aren't great, then you get wet, cold, miserable at the same time. And then
Yeah.
I had some experiences where, like, I tried some stuff that was too hard for my abilities, so you get really, really scared. So I don't know, maybe someday it will change, but there's definitely
Yeah.
other parts of the sport that I don't know, get me more psyched.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I've got a friend like that who's not very sold on the idea of ice climbing. Um, what mental challenges do you feel do you have to work on in climbing?
I think a lot of stuff really comes natural to me.
Okay.
Um, what I definitely struggled with is in general in my life is overthinking.
Okay.
And I think when I translate that to the project I'm trying right now, I think it's very important to not go down that path too far.
Okay.
To like to like always overthink and analyze every single try and every single feeling you have, and like it builds too much pressure.
Yeah.
Mm, Sometimes I see other climbers that seemingly just don't give a don't give an anything,
You
um,
can say it.
and just go out there and climb. Like
Yeah.
conditions are shite, then they will just well they just give it a try. And I think I lack a little bit of this. I'm a bit too realistic or analytic, I would say.
I guess that's your scientific mind.
Yeah, but it doesn't always help me since like I over analyze and like also I do the same in on an emotional level, like in relationships and like I'm too well, it's classic overthinker. Like
Yeah, okay.
it doesn't help.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make assumptions that are not true, and it's the same in climbing. Like you can analyze conditions and then make assumptions based on the info that you have.
Yeah.
But sometimes the info is just wrong, or
Yeah.
sometimes you have a good day even though conditions are shit.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I kind of see from other climbers that are really good at projecting,
Yeah.
and they're actually climbing the routes that I want to climb. That
Yeah.
they
So
just go for it.
yeah, I think I guess when you if I look I guess at my climbing if I have a day where I think all the variables are good, with that comes that self-induced pressure.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's
And
also a problem.
and
Like
then on
the
the
better the
days when
conditions.
I'm exhausted and tired and I just want to have a play,
Hmm,
there is no pressure and I tend to
exactly. Yeah.
climb fluid and loosely.
Yeah. So I definitely think that I've got plenty of stuff to learn there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a never-ending journey, isn't it? We're always learning.
Which is a good thing. It would be
Yeah.
boring
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if we would be able to do everything.
Yeah. If there was one piece of mental advice you would give to climbers looking to improve, what would it be?
Be realistic, I would say.
Yeah.
And like I've seen it very often that like too like yeah, unrealistic goal setting um gets people in a spot where they don't want to be. And it's the same thing with your abilities, like your strengths and your weaknesses. Some people are just very not realistic about what they actually need to work on. They
Yeah.
really like to train in a certain direction, but they're already good at that,
Yeah.
and they're not training their weaknesses.
Yeah.
So if you really want to improve, then you have to be honest with yourself,
Yeah.
and you have to be realistic in like figuring out what you need to do, what you need to change to get better.
Yeah.
If that is like on a mental level, on a tactical level, on a physical level, doesn't matter. But like all of these things you really need to understand.
Yeah.
And most of the times, like the outside perspective can tell you way better. Like other people could tell you way better what needs to change.
Yeah.
It's very hard to see that from yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
But you
Yeah.
need to
But
know. So either work with a trainer or ask somebody, talk with friends, talk with other climbers. I learned the most from other climbers,
yeah.
both on a like an emotional level, but also on a physical and training level.
Yeah. But I guess you then have to be open to process that feedback.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you kind of just have to be smart with it.
Yeah. But it's an ego thing, isn't it? We like if we're not willing to accept that, it's because we then feel that our ego is affected by it, and the same with working on weaknesses. If we keep playing on our strengths, it's just reaffirming and
Yeah,
feeding our ego.
it's nice to do what you're good at,
Yeah.
but
I'm not saying don't
it's
do it.
it's way more effective to practice what you're shit at.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And there's a whole lot of that.
And that's been like from back in the day, there always used to be a bit two worlds. Like so some people were saying now, you have to build and like extend your strengths and weak and like the stuff that you're already good at to make that even better.
Yeah,
And the other side would just say, no, like your strengths are already your strengths, like you gotta keep them up, but you gotta work on your weaknesses.
yeah, yeah. Completely agree. Yeah. Well, thanks for your time,
Yeah,
uh,
you're welcome.
Jorg.
It's nice to have a chat.
Yeah, really nice, and thanks for being so honest and open. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, and no
Yeah.
worries.
I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If you have any questions, either send us a message on social media. Best place would be either Instagram or send us an email. If you have any suggestions on topics or people to talk to on the podcast, please let us know, and we are always open to suggestions. See you next time. By the way, Jorg, next time you're in Yosemite, if I'm there, I'd be more than happy to give you a belay on one of your projects.